I'm an entrepreneur. I'm running at least 3 different businesses and 2 or 3 more on the back burner ready to go while still managing my household. Recently divorced. I've got full custody of my 2 kiddos. And I feel like if I didn't have the ADHD, like I don't know that I would survive in this. I think my issue with it is what it stands for, right? Like I hate the last letter being a disorder.
The disorder being like the official term, it is in 2 different ways. Let me explain.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Happy Hour with Hatchman. Today I've got Robert Doran on with me, an award-winning filmmaker, 4 years sober, and proudly raw dogging 36 years of ADHD. I got a fellow Star Wars nerd here, a guitarist, and now he's on a mission to help other ADHD entrepreneurs and creators build personal brands, not the fake perform stuff you see on the internet. So Robert, you are my type of guy, my man. Welcome to the show. Especially it being midnight where you're at in the UK. So I really appreciate your time today, dude.
It's called happy hour, isn't it? They talk about ADHD vampire hours. That's what I'm experiencing right now.
I say for me, I feel like that's kind of when my most creative and like energetic moments happen is like after 10 p.m., right? Like that's when it really starts to kick in. Like I've had some of my best ideas come to me at like 2 o'clock in the morning, the most inopportune time, like something about our brains. Like that's when lightning hits and we just have to go. So hopefully you're in that space now.
It's just that knowing that you're not going to be interrupted by anyone at that time, I think.
Is that what it is? Like, but we're not, I don't know, at least apparently. For me, I'm not a morning person. Like I'm not a huge fan of the mornings.
I've never been a morning person.
No, ever.
No.
Like I've gotten to get used to them just because I've had to. I've got young kids. And so with school schedules and like dealing with that, so I've had to like learn to be a morning person. But it's nice that no one else is around first thing in the morning, but it's different than the late night, no one's around.
It's because, if you're a morning person, forced or not, people are coming. You know what I mean? When it's that late at night, when it's vampire hours kind of thing, it's like, I've got this for an extended amount of time. I'm peaceful. This is it for until the morning people start waking up.
That's so true, man. Well, dude, so yeah, I'd love to get into this. I know we connected on Threads, and yeah, it sounds like we're in a lot of the similar spaces. Love, obviously, huge Star Wars nerd myself. I've got tons of way too much Star Wars stuff in my house. I may or may not have an entire room dedicated to some Star Wars memorabilia and art. So
amazing. You can't see it now that I've changed the room around, but I've got like a Kylo Ren canvas up there. I've got the Force Awakens canvas around the side. What you can see is V for Vendetta from V for Vendetta behind me. No, I don't even have anything Star Wars to hand. Usually I know. I was like, I don't have anything like ready to go. All of mine is out of reach as well. So those figurines you can see behind me, there's some bobbleheads that are Star Wars. And
there you go.
I think you can see Darth Vader's head up there potentially.
Oh yeah, I think I get the side of it. So well, sweet, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I want to talk about your journey, man. It sounds like you've had quite an experience, quite a life so far, and just started off as a filmmaker. So how did you get into filmmaking?
Well, I was into music first, and I think it said in your Threads bio, metalhead, did it not?
Indeed it did. Yeah. I'm a massive metalhead.
Well, I was into sports like most kids. Mm-hmm. And then around the age of 15, all the kind of what you have jocks in the States, don't you? We have chavs. And all the chavs started playing basketball. And I'd taken up basketball to get away from them because in year 7, when I was 11, 12 years old, they were playing football. But then they started playing basketball. And at that point, I thought, well, I figured growing my hair long, smoking weed and playing guitar was my next step to get away from them. So I got into playing music. By the time I was 16 and able to leave secondary school, I'd already come to the realization that I didn't want to be playing music professionally in the way of like learning all the theory and all the things that would ruin it.
Sure.
All the things that would take the novelty out of it from an ADHD standpoint.
Right.
I was like, well, what the hell do I do if I don't want to ruin my passion for music? And I went into videography. Well, my ambition was to be an editor, but I didn't know enough about ADHD at that point. Obviously, there was going to need to be something more. And I was like editing stuff when I was in college, and I kept getting bad footage. I was like, come on, guys. Like, well, why can't you use a camera properly? So I learned how to use a camera. And then that led, well, I went into like being a self-shooting music video director. I've done a lot of music videos. Unfortunately, being all ADHD, I got bored of that because it didn't make me rich. Somewhere along the line, I also won an award from the Royal Television Society for the short film that I made at the very end of my degree. So I got Best Undergraduate Drama 2014, which makes me feel old, from the Royal Television Society Award Southwest. And yeah, I've done a load of corporate stuff as well, as a camera operator, drone operator. That was back in the days when drones weren't so commercially viable. It was like, it was octocopters that were taking DSLR cameras up into the air, and I would do the gimbal operation whilst there would be a pilot as well.
So you're like one of the pioneers of the drones when they were like brand new.
Yeah. Well,
that's cool.
I was operating the gimbal. I wasn't piloting.
Sure,
Obviously, I've got my own drone now. I haven't used it in ages. It's in one of those drawers behind me. But that was filming turrets. I worked for a company that had a contract with a turret manufacturer. So we'd go to Portugal, the very north of Scotland, South Korea, etc., to shoot tanks using these turrets. Although they weren't tanks, they were AVs, and military people get very anal about the difference between tanks and AVs, whereas little old me, who's just gone and studied film, didn't know any different. And that's kind of my videography journey. Then that took me into like the online space, and I was doing like short form video editing, ended up as creative director for the Heart Leader podcast, took them from 500 to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then they ditched me in the nicest way possible. They're from just up the road from you in Scottsdale. And having flown out there to visit them and redesigned their podcast set, a few months later, they ditched me. And all of the things that came up that I'd been like trying to express, turns out they were all ADHD things. And at that point, that was very pivotal for me. And I started looking more into ADHD, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, actually, you know what? That's probably my calling in life. I've come to realize like most people with ADHD, if they're going to have an online presence, a personal brand, should talk about things they can go home to, because we're so in need of novelty.
Yes.
Obviously you have those rabbit holes that you go down, and then next week you've forgotten all about that. For me, that I've realized the things that I can go home to, is what I call it, are ADHD, filmmaking, and music. And like those are the three things that have run for decades through my life now, and I can always go back to them. So I need to be talking about those things more than anything else, really. And business, obviously. Of
course, right? With that ADHD brain, right? Like I grew up, I was born in 85. And so like, I don't know that they really, and especially where I grew up in a really small town, so there weren't really like the labels or the diagnosis, but like, my entire family has it. I know that. Like we're just all living in it.
You can see it, can't you? Once you know about yourself, you're like, I can see it in you guys.
Like once you learn about it, you're like, oh yeah, we all have that. Like, absolutely. So, but I remember that, like, going through that journey, right? Like we have like multiple interests. I feel like people with ADHD, like we kind of love a little bit of everything. And so I always found that was difficult growing up, because I was never really like super talented at like absolutely everything. But, if you try things for a long enough time, you can find ways to be good at them. So like with sports, with cooking, with, like outdoor adventure type stuff. Like, we're thrill seekers. So, I know you mentioned like BMX bikes and, dirt biking. I grew up out in the desert. So a lot of like sand rails, Jeeps, trucks, like, we did just high energy, high octane stuff because we're searching for that constant dopamine hit. Like, what's the fastest way that we can feel a rush in life? But yeah, as you get older and you're starting to look at like a career, like everything just seemed so boring. I'm like, I don't want to, or like you said, if I truly enjoy something and I'm passionate about it, like I really enjoy cooking, but I never wanted to take that into a career because I'm like, then it'll take the fun out of it. Like it's no longer fun because then it's a job. Like, so it's a hard balance to find like something that you're still passionate about, but find a way to make some money from it, right? That's kind of our whole goal, or not even necessarily money, but like live a happy life and be able to like support yourself and your family and that sort of thing. So it's cool that like you were able to like pinpoint that down, right? Like I'm 40 years old. I feel like I'm still barely starting to figure it out. I still have so many different things going on, but it's like, okay, for me, I've always been in finance. I've always done some sort of like content and video. I've been in real estate as long as I can remember. And so like, you kind of find those constants and you start to just double down on that. And like you said, what you can take home. So that's cool, man. In your little bio that you sent me, you said now you're working on kind of personal brands. So is that something that you work on just for yourself, or do you have like clients that you are helping like try to elevate their brands as well?
I've been putting together, I've like worked with kind of retainer clients with like web design stuff, and that's what's been keeping me kind of going. But what I know now, like after a lot of introspection, that like along with the personal branding side of things, I just need to help people with business. Okay. I haven't made as much as all these gurus are saying that they're making online. And
sure.
The ADHD thing of comparison, because right. I don't feel like I'm where they're at. I feel like I'm not qualified to help people who are behind where I'm at, which is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah. So I've been working on like an offer to help with personal brand, business. So like offer creation, the content ecosystem, and then ADHD management as it pertains to offer creation and content. Because
love that.
If you're not working with your brain, you're fighting against it.
Agreed.
And like I did a post on Threads earlier where I said like ADHD creators, I wasted around $20,000 on business programs because they didn't, and got no results because they didn't work in any way for my brain. They tried to shoehorn me into a certain way of thinking, and that's exactly what the education system did or tried to do. Yep. And it doesn't work. No. Obviously, I made it more succinct than that on Threads because otherwise it would have been a rubbish post. I would like to be the person, or at least one of the people, that people go to knowing that I help ADHD people with content and business, and like that I get it. You know what I mean?
Because you live
it. Yeah, exactly. I am like, on my little bio, like that you read out, it said about like the 36 years of raw dog. My diagnosis was actually really quite sketchy in a way.
Really?
My initial one. So in 1992 or so, as a toddler, my mum took me to a GP in the UK. And this shows how people spoke about this back then, because I'm 4 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So I get it when it comes to this as well. The doctor told my mum that I couldn't be ADHD because I wasn't Aryan. Clearly not blonde hair and blue eyes.
Seriously?
Yeah. And like now I find it incredible how many black people I have coming up on Instagram talking about ADHD. I'm like, how wrong was that, doctor?
Right? I was like, yeah, it does not discriminate for race, gender, or anything, man. Like, that's hilarious.
My mum then wrote to the ADHD UK support group, which was all these doctors who were very well informed, but they were trying to help where the health service was failing. But that meant it wasn't a medical diagnosis. It was kind of just a diagnosis from people who knew what they were talking about.
Sure, yeah.
Weird, right? So I was treated through exclusion diet, and like I didn't have Coca-Cola until I was 15 years old, 13, 15.
So like they wouldn't let you have caffeine?
It wasn't so much the caffeine. It was preservatives, additives, things like that.
Okay.
E numbers apparently set it off. Sodium benzoate comes to mind for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
And like grapes. I wasn't allowed to have grapes until I was 10 years old or something. Yeah, the skin of grapes was something that sets off ADHD.
Seriously?
I don't know. It calmed me down somewhat, and then I had a stoner phase when I was 15, getting into playing music and stuff.
I think we all had those phases, buddy. That's
That calmed me down a bit more, and then I've learned how to cope raw dog for 36 years.
So you're not on like any sort of actual like prescribed medicine?
Well, I had a medical diagnosis 2 months. Well, it's April the 1st now, so 3 months ago.
Yeah.
In January, and I am on the wait list. And like, there's a part of me that thinks like, should I try it? Because I've never tried it.
Sure.
Maybe I should just go with the raw dog, but I kind of want to try it so I'm better informed, even if it means coming off it, because I'm like, yeah, I was right.
Just because you don't know any different, right? Like maybe it'll help. So as regulated as you are now, just doesn't, just because there might be something out there that might help you even more. So
what's your experience with medication?
So I'm actually like never been officially diagnosed, right? Like I was, I grew up in a very small town. Like it was one of those things as I got older and like people were talking about it and like I was like, oh yeah, no, I definitely have this. Like, but I've never had like an official diagnosis. So I've had, no medication whatsoever on like my entire life, specifically for ADHD, right? Obviously I went through the phase of, smoked a lot of weed in high school and that definitely helps. Like, but like for me, depending on the strain, like it would really help me focus. The sativa strain specifically, that one really kind of like everyone else says it like energizes and stuff. And like that one calms me down. And I always say it instead of like, when you're looking at something like this, it does that. Like it allows me to kind of see everything all at once and all those thoughts that I'm having. It kind of helps me categorize them. So yeah, I've never done any sort of like official medication. I've just learned how to do it all along the way. I've always kind of done a million things at once and jumped from one thing to the next, but I am pretty organized. And like, I feel like there's different types of ADHD, right? Like I've got friends who can't like ever focus and get things done. Like I'm one of the ones that will procrastinate until the last minute and then do 2-3 weeks worth of work in 2 hours and crush it, like, and get it completely done. Like I remember going to school and I would need, I had like a 10-page essay due at the end of the month or the end of the semester or whatever. And I would wait until literally the night before. And I had a very specific thing. I would get a 2-liter of wild cherry Pepsi. I'd be crushing that thing all night long. I'd have a bag of chips and then I would just write my paper. And I got A's every single time. So I'm like, why would I study? Why would I do all this extra work if I know I can knock it out the night before and still crush it? So
that's what I find really weird, at least in the education system in the UK. They allow more time for ADHD if you're like diagnosed
that would make it worse
as a child. Yeah, I was like,
I'm just going to put it off even further.
Exactly.
I need a deadline. What? You tell me when it's due, and I'll knock it out. So
I was exactly the same. And for my dissertation at the end of my degree, along with the film that won the award, I was in the top 20% across all year groups for all subjects. So
that's killer.
And I handed that in with 40 minutes until like the cutoff.
Right. So I'm guessing school was easy for you. I don't know if I'm wrong there, but school was just never a challenge for me. It was too easy and it was boring. So
it depends on whether you're talking about the learning or the social aspect.
That's fair. I love the socializing, but yeah, like the day-to-day, mundane tasks. I always felt that school is more of a test of your short-term and long-term memory, right? You're really just memorizing things and then regurgitating them for a test. And it's like, I've always been good at short-term memorization. I can pass any test if I study for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for my GCSEs, I did not revise. My outlook on this has always been like, if I didn't learn it the first time, what makes you think I'm going to be able to teach it to myself later on down the line?
True,
So
okay.
I did not revise, and I got 7 C's and 2 B's.
Okay.
So
Hey,
I did all right.
good enough, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
passing.
And I already had my place at the art college where I went to study video was essentially already a certain thing. So like I didn't need to be trying hard anyway at that point. And
Right,
like,
yeah.
it's that whole thing of I find with, I don't know if it is an ADHD thing, but like if I'm not truly interested in something, there is no way that I'm going to put my full effort into it.
Yes.
Do you get that? And like the end of school was that. Like,
Yeah.
I play golf with my dad as well.
Oh, cool.
Do you play golf?
Me and my son love to play golf. Yeah, we golf all the time.
There's a lot of golf courses in your area, isn't there?
Yeah, I've got 2 courses within walking distance from my house. Like, I have a golf cart in my garage.
So, you know, with the golf handicap, we often say like there's a very big difference between using your shot on a hole and making the most of it. And like when it comes to not being interested, like I will use what I have available as opposed to making the most of it. And that really annoys me about myself in retrospect, because like if I'd made the most of school, who knows what I could have done. But that is the ADHD condition, isn't it? Like that potential, but never actually achieving it.
But like you said, if you're not interested in it, though, like, you know, if it's not interesting, if it's not fun, like, then yeah, we're going to do the bare minimum just to get it done. So I understand that as well. So
yeah. And that was school. That was school so bad.
Yeah, it was just school. I don't know. School was just, it was way too easy for me. Like, again, I also grew up in a small town, so I feel like I didn't really, where my kids go to school now, like literally just the amount of people that are in my son's grade right now was like the culmination of my entire town. Like, like we just had very few people. So I felt like it was a little easier to succeed. Like I remember going in like I don't know how it is in like the UK, but we have like the advanced placement classes, like, they call it like AP English and then like advanced calculus or whatever it might be. Like it was always like me and like 3 other people in those classes, where the majority of the classrooms would be like 20 to 30 people. So like there weren't a lot of high performers in my school. So it was easy to, stand out.
My year group in my secondary school, as far as I'm aware, was the biggest year group they've ever had.
Really? And how many was that?
400.
Okay, that's pretty big.
For 1 year group. I think they try and cap it at like 350. Now,
Okay.
I don't, I've heard the figures of 350 to 375 since.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think there was like 97 people in my graduating class. It was like just under 100. So not very many.
And I played my first ever gig to my entire year group, and it was horrific.
And this was guitar or?
Guitar, yeah. I looked down and I was about to go into this solo that I'd written for some reason, like jumping in at the deep end, and my hand was doing that, like shaking with nerves.
Sure.
And I asked my friend like afterwards, like, how was it? It was like, I heard more bum notes than actual notes. Like, oh.
But you did it. It's sometimes it's just knocking that first one out, and then the nerves are gone, and then it makes the second one a lot easier.
It took me ages to be able to actually get into performing, but by the end of my career in bands, I was a front man. The last band I was in, I was screaming for 4 years. Yeah. In a like metalcore band.
Really?
And I was good. I grew my hair long again. It was like down here.
What was the name of the band? I'll look you up, buddy.
Seconds Alive.
Seconds Alive. All right. I'm gonna check it out. I'm always looking for new metal music, man. And maybe that's an ADHD thing too. But like for me, I remember the first time I heard like metal music. Like it was actually, I still remember the song. It was Deftones, Around the Fur, which I guess that's more of a hard rock rather than metal. But
I had a feeling when you said about like smoking weed in secondary school, for some reason I thought Deftones. I don't know why. That's so weird.
I always listened to like, before I was into like hip hop and rap and that sort of thing. Like, you know, Eminem had like come out, like, you know, he was like the first white rapper, and I have like, I shave my head, but even when it's grown out, my hair is like blonde, like white blonde, like very, very, very blonde. And so everybody assumed I was bleaching my hair to look like Eminem, and I'm like, this is my natural hair color. Like, so anyway,
you'd have got a diagnosis of the doctor my mum took me to.
I know, right? Exactly. They definitely will be giving me the ADHD. But yeah, like, and then, you know, I also grew up in a pretty diverse town. And so it was predominantly Hispanic as well as Native American. So the town where I grew up on is right off of the Navajo Indian Reservation. And so like 80% of our school was, you know, Navajo Native American. And a lot of those guys, they love like heavy metal. Like they, you know, they used to be the ones that showed me like Danzig, Slipknot, like, you know, like all the really good stuff. But for whatever reason, I still remember that first Deftones song and listening to it, and I was like, you know, the way they start to like scream in the middle, I was like, what is this? I really like this. Like, and that kind of started me down my journey of, you know, finding that style of music. And I'm just, it weirdly calms me down and pumps me up at the same time. Like I can literally go to sleep to, you know, like just the hardest, heaviest stuff, like Hate Breed and like, you know, stuff like that. Just it just calms me.
I've seen a lot of stuff recently about how heavy music, it helps regulate the ADHD mind. And I think it's something to do with like, if your mind's like so on and hyper, having that reflected back to you in music, it's like, this is on my frequency.
That's cool. I mean, that makes sense. Like, it's funny because my videographer, he's very ADHD as well. And same thing, like big metalhead. We're both, you know, very tattooed up and just we have a lot of similarities. That's why we get along so well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I think my issue with it, like, is what it stands for, right? Like I hate the last letter being a disorder. I don't think that it is. Like I think it's just a different type of mind, right? Like we think differently, we have different thought process, we act a little bit different than those that don't have ADHD. But for somebody like me, like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm running at least 3 different businesses, and you know I've got 2 or 3 more on the back burner ready to go at any given moment. And I've been that way ever since I was a kid. Like I started my first business myself when I was 15 years old, installing car stereos. And like, I've just always kind of done something, right? Like I even did like door-to-door sales as a kid. Like I've always enjoyed that type of lifestyle. Like just, you know, the idea of sitting in an office every single day from 9 to 5 is like my nightmare. Like I just couldn't do that, man. Like that sounds awful. So like for me, like, and somebody like, you know, it's running all of these different things while still managing my household. Like I'm also a single dad of 2 kids, recently divorced. I've got full custody of my 2 kiddos. And I am doing all of it right now. And I feel like if I didn't have the ADHD, like I don't know that I would survive in this, like in this sort of lifestyle that I've chosen for myself. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like as far as people branding it as a disorder compared to a superpower, which is what I think it should be called.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. I think the disorder being like the official term, it is in 2 different ways. Let me explain.
Okay.
There's the societal definition. Your inability, my inability, and I've worked in a call center. I've worked in 3 different call centers. I don't know why I put myself through that. Like, I hate myself, obviously. But like that inability to sit in a cubicle in an office, that societally is what is seen as a disorder. That's weird that we can't do that because normal, neurotypical people can do that.
Okay. I guess I never thought of it like that.
Is that a good thing? Would you wish that upon them? No, because like it's the whole Matrix, red pill, blue pill thing, isn't it? Those people are blue pill people who can go through school, come out of it as obedient workers, which is exactly what Rockefeller wanted. There's people that can do exactly the same thing for 6 days a week for 40 years straight and be happy.
Right?
I can't do the same thing 6 days a week for 1 week and be happy.
For real, man. Like,
yeah. And then the second part is that there is the disorder part of it, where it's like the executive dysfunction, the noise in your head that can lead to depression, that can lead to anxiety, that all of those things, like we can't. And I've come up against this because I've essentially built my Instagram following off the back of one video that I've reposted 3 times and reshot another 2 times.
Okay.
Essentially saying that ADHD is a superpower. And obviously I get all the haters in the comments, which boosts the post saying, oh, it's a disorder. I'm like, I hate to say it, but like it's learned helplessness, but pushing it to the point of accepting that you're retarded. And you're not meant to use that word anymore, but they're accepting mental retardation. So I'm not saying that word just to be derogatory.
Understood, yeah.
And like every time somebody's like that, I'm like, I'm not saying that none of those things exist. I'm saying where focus goes, energy flows, as Tony Robbins said. If you focus on being a victim of it ruining your life, it is going to ruin your life and you will be a victim. Absolutely. If you change your focus to how can I make this work for me as opposed to against me, then the world's your oyster. And the funny thing is, the things that I speak about in the video, I said, all you have to do, that's the line that gets people. All you have to do, because I make it sound really easy, and people hate that. All you have to do is get over the shit that goes on in your head, the rejection sensitive dysphoria, the overthinking, the fear, the self-doubt. None of those things are what make ADHD a disorder. They are things that can actively be worked on. The things that make it a disorder are the things like the executive dysfunction.
So, and all of the things, to be fair, are even if you don't have ADHD, if you are hard on yourself, if you hate yourself, like if you have the victim mentality, if you use any sort of experience you've had in life to be a shitty person or whatever, like that doesn't help you either.
Yeah, it's blame. If you don't take responsibility, where you place blame, you give control.
Right. And so I love that because I, with people that are diagnosed early with the ADHD, some of them use that as, this is my crutch. I can't succeed because I have this. And they use it as an excuse, or they don't have the proper mindset to use it to propel them forward or learn how to use it. Because I will say that, like, ADHD can be very difficult to deal with if you don't know how to channel it, if you don't know how to properly rewire your mind to focus it in the right direction. And that is the most difficult thing for us to do because we're focused on everything all at once all the time.
And we were talking about medication. Like, you're talking to someone who drank heavily for 16 years. So progressively more and more until the point where I was like, actually, need to knock this on the head.
You've been sober now, was it 4 years?
4 years? Oh, I can tell you exactly. 4 years and 3 months. Exactly. Because it was the 1st of January, 2022.
How about that? To the day, dude. Well, congratulations on your sobriety. That is, I know that's not easy. My ex-wife is an alcoholic. She's almost a year sober. We're working on it. So it's I understand that, again, I've seen it from the other side. I was married 16 years, saw a lot of the alcohol abuse, and just, I was also kind of asleep at the wheel. I just, assumed it was always going to get better, but she just never really made that choice to stop until the choice was kind of made for her. So what changed it for you? I guess what made you, did you have an experience? Did something happen? Or was it just like one day So I'd love, if you're comfortable talking about that, of course.
Oh, absolutely. I'm an open book. Like, I'll talk about anything. Because, like, I came up with a little saying, and it goes, if you own your shit can't own you. If I'm hiding stuff about, like, or like hiding or uncomfortable being open with this stuff, I haven't fully recovered from it. Partly. So yeah, I'm an open book. I'll tell you anything. On the 1st of January 2021, I blacked out for a bit. And like usually when that had happened, I'd just wake up the following morning. But this time I actually came to like what just happened. And then my girlfriend and my friend were like, you were like sulking on a bench on your own. I was like, what? I don't even remember this. And really? I was thinking of having a tattoo on my wrist that just says clarity. I haven't got it yet. Might not. But I knew at that point that something had to change. But this goes to how the ADHD mind resists change, because change is hard. I think that's not even just ADHD, but it's especially bad for ADHD. Yeah. And despite having had that experience and knowing that I needed to make a change, it took a year. And during that year, my marketing agency, my first online business, was actually making more money than I'd ever had disposably before, which meant I had more money to drink. So like, I wasted a load of it on alcohol. Like an idiot.
You can afford the good stuff, so.
Yeah, Brewdog Punk IPA, my favorite. And the thing is, another like OCD, ADHD thing that I have is like, I'd buy a pack of 12 cans. If I had one of them, I either had to have 6 or I had to have 12. It was either half or the whole thing.
Because they got to be properly aligned in the fridge, so.
Exactly. And by the time I quit, I was getting through a pack of 12 more nights than not. That's 1,600 calories before you factor in any food. So I was like, I was putting on weight. I was not well.
Sure.
Within 3 months of quitting, I'd dropped 10 kilos without going back to the gym properly.
Just from stopping drinking.
Just from the alcohol calories. So,
well, it's math, right? Less calories, you burn more. That's just,
Yeah. And then like that plateaued and I was like, need to carry this on somehow. Should probably go and learn how to lift weights and go to the gym properly. Yeah. That was kind of the journey into not drinking anymore. And I have a friend who's in Harlingen, Texas, who was previously a meth head, and now he's like a life coach.
Good for him. That's a hard thing to quit, I've heard. Again, I've never gotten into the hard stuff, but
he never even went to rehab. He managed to kick it on his own.
Wow.
But he's a single dad of 2 as well. He's got 2 little boys, and the kids changed him, and his partner, she hasn't come off the drugs. But he explained to me, like, in the rehab circle, well, he's never been to a facility, but he's been around recovering addicts as well. And they always talked about the 90-day hump. So this is how it went. Sorry, very ADHD of me there.
No, I'm following along great, man. We're in sync over here.
January 2022, my challenge to myself was to do the year sober, and my girlfriend did dry January, and at the end she went back to drinking until July and then quit on her dad's birthday, so she's almost 4 years sober as well.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
But my friend Nathan in Texas told me about the 90-day hump, and that is that after 90 days, that's when the identity starts to shift naturally. So I've been telling people up until that point, like, I'm going sober for the year.
Yeah.
After that 90 days, I just started telling people that I don't drink anymore.
Nice.
And my girlfriend actually got me a 4-pack of Brewdog Punk IPA, my favorite, on to celebrate doing the year. And I was like, you know what? I don't want it.
I'm good.
And
I don't want it.
That pack of IPA cans stayed in the fridge for another 2.5 years before we actually got rid of them.
Man. That's so cool, dude. Congrats. Because that, I mean, again, seeing the other side of it, like, you know, I understand the difficulties, you know, with having to, you know, stop that sort of thing. So that's a big deal. But I think you're right, though, that 90-day mark. And you said something else. I think this also works really well for people with ADHD, because I also, you know, I don't know that I definitely am not an alcoholic, but I was drinking too much. Like I was having too much.
Moderation is not what we're known for.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to find that balance sometimes. But I had, you know, I'd put on some significant weight as well. I was quite a bit heavier than I am now. You know, I'm in pounds. It's the whole sort of thing. But I was 70 pounds heavier than I am right now. So a lot of weight. But yeah, a lot of it was just quitting drinking. And so for me, you mentioned that you were going to stop for a year. I've always put challenges on myself in the form of a year as well. And it's funny because they usually end up going beyond that. So I had set an initial challenge. Me and my friend were working on some weight loss together. And we both had the Apple watches, and, you know, they have those like rings on them. Hey, see, yeah, you've got the Apple Watch. I ditched mine now because I started to become too obsessed with it, and I was like having to win every challenge, so I ditched it. But we decided for 1 year together we were going to team up and just close all of our rings, right? Which is just like, you know, you got to stand up a certain amount of times a day, you got to work out for 30 minutes a day, and you have to have so many steps, right? And so that was it.
I don't even know what they are. I just have it for the pedometer. I use it for the step count.
And so we just did that, and we held each other accountable, right? So like on the weekends, if like, you know, he would notice that I hadn't moved a whole lot for the day, he would call me out and be like, hey, you're going to get your workout in today, or you're going to close your rings today. And then I would do the same thing. And so we just keep each other accountable. And we did that for an entire year together. And then after that, it was just like,
second nature,
just habit, right? Then it's just part of your day. And so like that, I noticed, I think it was like even like 6 or 9 months later, I hadn't been tracking it. I looked and I had still been closing them every day. I just wasn't even like tracking it anymore. So, you know, I think that's an ADHD thing too, is we have to give ourselves challenges or goals or something that's like, you know, simple enough that we know we're going to do it, but like long enough out there that, you know, gives us something to look forward to. So that's pretty cool. So I love that you kind of did that, maybe without even knowing, right? That was just the initial plan. So,
well, it's the power of getting on a streak. I learnt about this in reference to Duolingo, and my streak on Duolingo learning Spanish is 710 days now.
Qué bien, habla español también, ya?
See, I'm better at reading it though.
Yeah, okay. I'm fluent in Spanish. Sorry, I lived in Spain for a while, so I picked it up while I was over there. The city of Valencia.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
my dad lived in Barcelona. My mum lived in Madrid. My great grandfather was born in Bilbao.
No way.
So I'm a 16th Spanish. Yeah. So I should be more fluent than I am.
you look like you've got some Spanish blood in you. So, but yeah, no, I fell in love with that country. It was, I fully plan on moving back once my kids are grown and out of the house. I want to retire on, you know, somewhere over there, and maybe like Mallorca or something. But
well, if you can use the model of Duolingo of getting on a streak, that's half the battle won. And I actually found an app. It's called Streaks. And like anyone that I work with content, I get them to get this app, because like redirecting where you get dopamine from. So if you're trying to get into creating content consistently, and the only time you get dopamine is when you post, and then if it performs well, which is the stupidest thing you could ever get dopamine from, in terms of being serious about content, of course you're not going to stick with it. Like, why would you? It takes effort and time. If you get onto if you set up a streak and you're like, I've done it for so long and I'm tracking how long I've done it for, I want my little dopamine hit from it. It closes a circle when you hold down. So it's like, Well done. You've done your streak for today.
That's cool. Streaks. Okay, I wrote that down. I'll check that one out too.
I think it's $5 or something, one-time fee. So it's not even like a membership or anything. But yeah, like if you get your dopamine from completing your streak for the day, you're far more likely to stick with it.
That is true. Yeah, content, it can be a difficult game, but like I don't know, I believed in it so much, and I used it for business, right? So my content strategy is very different than probably the typical person, but I don't know, maybe not, because as you know, I use content to get business, and so my metrics of success have nothing to do with likes and views and shares. Like I actually teach a class on this now to other mortgage professionals and real estate agents. It's like if 10 people saw your video and one person reached out to you and needed to sell their home or to get a mortgage loan, that's the most successful video you can make. Like it does not matter who saw it, is if the end result is to get business from it. And so I've kind of tried to reshift that, but we all get caught up in that as content makers, right? We get that we want to go viral. We want the one video to take off. We want 1 million followers. But I'll say this. So I was in I started making content back in 2014 is when I first started getting into content. And so, kind of an early adopter, at least in my space and real estate and stuff. And that was my goal, right? Like I want to go viral. I want to have all these followers. And it took 6 years. But I did have a video go absolutely viral and just completely take off. It was like 1.8 million views. It generated over 500 DMs. It had like 64,000 saves and 70-something thousand shares, like thousands of comments. And yeah. And what I realized was I did not have the back-end support system to handle that amount of volume. I was drowning. I literally quit my job where I was working the very next day because I was like, I have to do it all different. I have to tear this back down to the ground and I have to rebuild my foundation. I wasn't prepped to go viral. And so I share that story now as like a caution to other business owners. It's like, if you're not set up to go viral, if you're not ready to take on the amount of clientele that will happen from a viral video, that's not the goal.
Well, going viral is, if you're not ready, if it's like the first time and you're not ready for it, that's a two-pronged, can't think of what the word would be, but like either...
Double-edged sword.
A double-edged sword, yeah. You can do what happened to you, where you have so many inquiries that you can't handle them, and like you literally have to rethink how the back-end systems work. Or you have the wrong video go viral, you're known for the wrong reasons, and absolutely nothing comes of it, and you're like, and it's empty, and you're like, so this whole viral thing, it's a load of BS.
It is, man.
So, and I don't think there's much grey area between those two things, because what sort of psychopath is prepared for going viral and does it perfectly the first time?
I am now, but I'm prepared to let it happen again. I have the back end support system now, and it's funny because I've never had one take off the way that one did. Even since then, it was back in 2020, and it was crazy, man. So, but I'm ready for it now. If it's I got all the back end systems to capture all those leads. But back then it was just me, and I was on vacation too when it went down. So I remember I literally woke up at like 2:00 in the morning and started responding to every single one of these DMs one at a time, and they just kept coming.
No ManyChat back then.
Oh man, because I follow Gary Vee, and he's always like, you have to respond to every comment, you have to respond to every DM. Like if you want to be successful, this is what you got to do. So I'm like, I got to respond to all of these, and so like it just I spent like 6 hours on my vacation first thing in the morning responding to every single message. It was crazy.
That's commitment.
I learned a lot from it. I actually wrote a book on kind of my journey and stuff, and I have a whole chapter on, going viral was one of the worst things that happened to me, but one of the best and the worst, right? Because it showed me where all of my holes were. It showed me where all of my flaws, where I needed to find the right support. And it's building that foundation. So, for you, somebody that teaches a lot of this stuff on social media, I guess what is your process for that when you're like coaching your clients or teaching them on like how to make content, and how do you get them to, I know you mentioned the streaks to keep them consistent, but like, I guess what's your thought process behind your overall process for what that looks like?
Well, that's the thing about ADHD people. They're all bloody different.
Customizable to the client. Okay.
Yeah. So like I work best one-on-one with people. I've tried to set up group programs before, and like, I don't know, I think I end up self-sabotaging because it's like, I know that I don't really want to be doing this. I know that people like Tacky Moore, who is also ADHD, say like, have this group program, it's going to give you loads of time back. But like, I work best working with people one-on-one.
Gotcha.
And then like, it's just my process is to find what I see that they are not seeing. And a lot of time there's like how to actually speak, which sounds weird, doesn't it? Remember that Friends episode with Chandler and is taking the photo, and it's like smiling normally, and then the camera comes out, he goes, like, there's so many people that happens to.
True.
So like, I do a lot of work on like nervous system regulation and like actually being able to be yourself on camera. And yeah, it depends on the client and what they need. And then like finding what actually works for the client, like getting around the fact that 15 gurus have already told them 15 different things they should be doing, and actually figuring out what works for them.
Yes.
And beyond that, simplifying what works for them. Like I had a client who I think she had 5 different social media profiles that she was trying to post on with different content for different offers. I was like, do you want to like do well in life? Because
pick a lane and go all in.
As I should mention, as a solo operator, it's not like she had a team. It's not like all of these were separate businesses where she was just overseeing. She was doing all the work for these 5 different projects with 5 different social media profiles. I was like, are you feeling burnt out? And she was like, yes. I was like, I wonder why.
Makes sense, right? That's a lot. I mean, just to manage mentally, right? Like that many things, like trying to figure out your different audiences and different channels. Well, like I said, because I'm at least like uniform on all my stuff. Like I've got a few things, like I've got the real estate, I got the mortgage, I got the podcast, but like those all kind of happened organically. In the very beginning, it was nothing but mortgage content, just all day, every day, mortgage education, and that's all I talked about. And I like the way you said that, because I say the same thing. I'm like, I'll share some general knowledge here, but everybody's situation is different, and I prefer to work with clients one-on-one as well, because purchasing a home, making a large financial decision like that, there's definitely not a one size fits all. Like every single person's situation is different, and I'm there. I always tell people, I'm just here to help you find options for what may work for you. Like I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to show you, here's what you can do. Here are your options based on what you tell me is important to you. I'll find you solutions based on those. And if we can't figure it out, if there's not a solution, I'll at least tell you what you need to do to get to the outcome that you want. And so it's just a lot of it is education and just helping people. And I love that, man. So it's just, I think ultimately that's where we thrive, is just when we can help share some of the things that we've learned and help other people figure it out for themselves.
I think there's something very special to the ADHD mind in connecting with someone one-on-one and having a proper conversation. I don't know if that is like deep and intrinsic, or whether it is the societal conditioning where we've all grown up as a bit of an outcast. So when you actually have a real conversation, it's like, oh, didn't have this as a child. This is nice. I don't know which one it is, but like when you can actually speak to someone and feel like you're serving and doing right by them, there's something special in that for at least me. And I think I've see the same in other ADHD people as well.
I would agree with that, man. Yeah, it's me. I think that's kind of what it is, right? Like I never really fit in with a crowd, right? Like I kind of fit in with a little bit of
a mosh pit.
Right, exactly. This is a mosh pit, but but yeah, you're always kind of that little outcast. So that's funny you say that, because one of my favorite sayings, and pardon my language, but is "fuck small talk." Right? Like let's go deep.
Yeah.
Let's have these real conversations. Let's get into all of it. Because like you, I'm an open book. I'm not afraid to share anything. Remind me of your phrase again as to why you share everything. What was the little phrase you had?
If you own your shit can't own you.
I love that, dude. All right, so this one's just for you. I've never asked any other guests this, but I'm going to ask it for you. Favorite Star Wars character and why?
Oh, that is tough.
I know it is.
That is really, really tough. I genuinely don't have one.
Really?
I can get I'm ADHD as well. Like,
that's fair.
Do you remember when you grew up as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. And people go, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" Well, I can tell you the ones I don't like.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'll give you that.
I'll give you a top 3 or 5 though.
Let's do that then. All right.
Kylo Ren, for his costume design. I just love that mask.
Oh, it is scary as shit, right? It's so cool.
And the voice that comes with it. And then he takes it off and he's like a emo teenager who smashes up his room. Right? It's really bizarre.
Great character.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ooh.
Have I got enough time to tell a little story?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. We're on your time, buddy. I was just trying to be respectful of you because of how late it is. So,
and then possibly Han Solo, because he's a bit cheeky, and he's
an asshole.
Well, I was about to say I see a bit of myself in him. Anyway, he's
exactly.
an asshole. Damn it,
I'm an asshole too.
So with Qui-Gon Jinn, when that came out in 1999, I believe.
Yeah, 99 was Phantom Menace.
Pre 1999. Well, in the time leading up to that coming out, I wanted to be in the army.
Really?
Oh, I know, weird, right? And
didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I was a lot more like violent, I guess, in nature back then.
Sure.
And also apparently willing to do what I was told, which not sure about that. Either way, I wanted to be in the army. I went and saw The Phantom Menace with my mum and her friend Anne, who shares her birthday with my dad.
Nice.
And I came out of that film wanting to be a Jedi. And obviously you can't be a Jedi. But
unfortunately,
in retrospect, I can see now that that was a pivotal moment in my life, because there's so much in terms of spirituality, Buddhist teachings, like the meditation that Qui-Gon Jinn did when Darth Maul was pacing up and down in that final fight, the inner mastery, that kind of stuff. All of my interest in that can then be traced back all the way to The Phantom Menace in 1999.
Dude, that was such a good movie. Because, I'm sure you probably grew up with the OG Star Wars. We obviously, the original trilogy. I grew up loving them with both of my parents. But when The Phantom Menace came out, especially back then, that was when we finally had the technology, at least at that time, looking, even now it's still incredible, but the technology to have the insane lightsaber fights, to have all of the cool stuff that they just were limited to in the 70s when they made the original trilogy, right? So that's cool, man. I love that. So awesome. Okay. Well, all right. Those are good 3. So my number 1 is still probably, and it's going to be newer now because of what's come out, but is the Mandalorian. Is the I don't know if you've seen the Mandalorian.
What? I didn't realize that we were talking canon as well. I was just going off the films.
If we're talking films, it's Boba Fett. I've always loved the Bounty Hunters Guild, the idea of the bounty hunters, right? Boba Fett has the fewest lines of any character, and he's so iconic, but he's so bad. I actually have a massive Boba Fett tattoo that takes up the majority of my left leg, or my left calf anyway. But like, I just love that idea of like, they don't pick a side. They're not rebels. They're not, empire. They're just a simple man trying to make my way through the universe, and they're gonna get paid to be mercenaries. So like, I love. He's
in business,
idea.
like us,
right? They're just businessmen. Like, I just thought that was so cool. Plus the costumes. Like, I may or may not be commissioning a Mandalorian outfit for myself. I definitely am. Yeah. There's a 501c. There's a charity out here. It's this charity where you can get a costume built for you for whatever you want, and then they it's like you dress up and you go and visit like sick kids in the hospital, and like
Make-A-Wish Foundation kind of thing.
It's something kind of like, it's not Make-A-Wish Foundation. There's it's called the 501st is what they call it out here. So 501st. I have a friend who is Darth Vader here in Arizona. Like, he's like an officially sanctioned Darth Vader, has built a custom suit, and he goes and does all kinds of fun charity work. I actually met him at a charity event. We were painting houses for this. It's a community where they have homes for like, single moms that have become homeless or need a place to live, or single parents that like, have no housing. So it's kind of like something to help people get back up on their feet. And so it's all volunteer work. And we were, painting one of their properties that they had. And yeah, I saw a little like Empire thing on his jacket, and it just, you know how it is. Once you meet another Star Wars fan, we just both go down the rabbit hole. Yeah. We just ended up talking, and then he told me about this whole, thing that he does. And I'm like, I have to get involved in this.
I can one-up you with that.
Ooh, let's go.
I met actual Darth Vader.
Stop it.
Not James Earl Jones,
or the guy that wore the suit.
Dave. I can't remember his surname.
I know. I know who you're talking about.
The guy who I went to this convention with bought the lightsaber end, and
what?
Oh, what's his name? He signed it, and what was his actual name? David Prowse. That's the one.
Yes, David Prowse. Yes,
so
sir.
He signs it. David Prowse.
Signed lightsaber from David Prowse.
The guy who I was with. That mate, not in a gay way.
Yeah.
My mate at the time. He's not my mate anymore.
Yeah.
He's a prick. But David Prowse signed this lightsaber, and David Prowse is Darth Vader, and like underlined is, because obviously his voice got removed. Do you know why it got removed?
Yeah, because I watched the documentaries of it. It just wasn't scary enough. Like, it just,
because he's Cornish. Like, David Prowse is from the county over from where I am now. Like,
he's
a
from the
farmer.
UK. Yeah.
And I would love to hear that. Like, Luke, I am your father. Because they sound really weird.
Yeah, Star Wars, like I said, we go down the road all day. But yeah, when I found out that they were doing that whole thing, like I was originally just going to be a stormtrooper, like, but there's so many of them out here.
Nobody wants to meet a stormtrooper.
Right. I was like, I'm not going to fit in with everybody else. It's just because they were the least expensive one to buy. Like the Mandalorian suit is like one of the most expensive, but I was like, whatever, I'll just make more money. So yeah, I found out not only like, I've always loved, that show originally just because they crushed the whole thing. Like the whole series was incredible. But I'm literally the exact same height and weight as Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian. So I'm like, I was built for that suit. Like, that's so for Mr. Robert, where can people find you if they were interested in working with you?
Instagram's probably the best.
Instagram. Okay. I'll get your handle
Robert
up on here.
Alexander Doran. That's my handle. My website needs redoing. I haven't touched it in a while, but that's robertalexanderdoran.com. Okay. And then YouTube and Threads, you can find me there as well. If
you are ADHD, if you are a business owner, if you just want to follow another cool guy on social who loves Star Wars and heavy metal and puts good stuff out on the internet and is a good human being, definitely check out Robert Alexander. So Robert Alexander Doran. So thank you again for your time today, my man. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.